Hey, it's the end of the year and the beginning of the new one. Happy New Year, Rick.
Hey, Happy New Year. And Happy New Year to all the people who've been supporting the show for all these weeks. Hopefully you all have championship belts or rings. Show yours, Greg.
Well, but today's show is just in case you're one of the few who is actually playing a 2-week championship the last 2 weeks of the year, or just the last week of the year is your championship game. It's not that unusual, but it is a minority of leagues. But we still want to do it. We're going to do the show all year. We'll just discuss other things during the off season. And we've got some great shows lined up for you in January already. We're going to do an IDP, how to introduce IDP, with some of the best IDP minds in the game coming on to help us with that. We're going to talk about building a community. We were discussing that before the show tonight. We want to build a community, a strong community where you can come and ask us questions and we can answer it. And you know that you're going to get the attention you deserve when you need it. So again, Merry Christmas to all. I know it was last week, and Happy New Year to everybody today. We're glad that you're joining here. Please take a minute to go to YouTube and subscribe to this channel. It helps the organization TSA grow. But our first segment, and I know Iggy knows this, is our pros versus Joes. And our pro this week is none other than our very own Joe Carlton. And Joe is actually having his own show on after ours. So please find it and go watch it, because he's got some really great guests lined up to talk about how to basically rate players for next year. So you got some of the top players in the game, right, Joe? You're muted. You're going to have to unmute your mic, buddy.
There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, my feature guests tonight, Billy Wasowski. He's a NFFC Hall of Fame high stakes player, and I also got the 2023 overall champ, Will Miles. He's actually they're partners. Willie is a mentor. Billy is a mentor to Willie, and Willie in his first couple of years of high stakes won an overall title. So they're both very good players, awesome guests, tons of good advice coming in that one. I also got you popping on, Greg. I want you to come on and give your thoughts on the Cursor 370. I know you've done a ton of research on the subject, and you can give us some of your thoughts for 2026. Maybe there's one or two players that you're going to be avoiding because of this. But, yeah, it's going to be a good show. Ace is up. We're going live at 8:15.
And our Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, 8:15, guys. Be sure to go
8:15
over to
Eastern time.
What's the name of it? No,
Aces Up podcast.
Okay,
it's right here on the same channel, a sports affiliation.
So go to YouTube, sports affiliation. You might also find it on the Twitter feed too. So I just found out things. Our YouTube doesn't count the people that watch on Twitter. We get a lot more views than we knew we were getting, Rick. And speaking of views, we're here with a guy tonight that helped you with the Scott Fish Bowl in Houston, and is kind enough to be a last-minute addition as our final Joe of the year, Mr. Chris Doherty. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Greg, it's great to see you again. And Rick, great to see you.
Well, tell people where they can find you. I mean, you don't have your Twitter handle there. Where can they find your stuff?
Oh, I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky at Chris Doherty CFM.
Okay.
And
we might have to look at Blue Sky.
Otherwise, you can find me in Houston and on a dynasty league near you.
Okay, so you're a dynasty expert. I'll have to get you on for our dynasty show, because I'm sure we're going to do one in the off season. Not scheduled yet. Okay, so in this segment, we will each pick a player that is inside the top 12 quarterbacks and ends, top 24 running backs and wide receivers, second part of the segment, actually, that will not perform at that level in week 18. So those are our busts for the week. And we're also going to pick a guy that's outside of those ranges that will perform in the top 12 or 24 for week 18. Those are our sleepers. And I got to tell you, I'm liking how I've been doing in this segment. Our hosts now, both Rick and I have missed shows. I think Rick's missed one and I've missed two. So we had guest hosts that picked for us, which is probably why we lead the Pros and Joes so badly. Pros and Joes are sitting at 28, and the Pros are tied with the Joes at 14-14. So this week's show could choose a winner between Pros and Joes, but you guys can't catch us. We're dominant. But anyway, we're going to start off with our sleepers, as always, and we always start with our pros. So let's go. What do you got for us, Joe?
My sleeper this week, week 18.
Those that don't know, Joe is our pro.
I want winners.
I was a Joe. My name was Joe, and I was a Joe last year. So now I'm a pro. It's
Nice.
It's weird. Yeah, no. So no, this week I'm going to go with Kyle Monangai, running back from the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
Going up.
I don't know if it's everybody, but for me, Joe, you're breaking up really bad. I'm going to ask you to leave and come back in. Iggy will get you back in. Please leave and then come back in.
Actually, Greg, I
so
think
that we
you're
can
the
get
one
you
that's
back in, because
breaking up.
right now you're
That's
lagging a
fine.
little too much. In the meantime,
You're fine, Joe.
pardon me?
Greg, I think you're the one who's having the
Is
lag.
me, Rick?
Yeah. Joe's coming through clear.
All
Okay,
right.
good. Because I was here and I thought I might have been having problems too, because Greg was a little bit spotty, but yeah, no, whatever. You want me to continue or?
Yeah, keep going, Joe. You're on.
All right, Kyle Monangai.
Yes, please start over.
Yeah, my sleeper pick for week 18 is Kyle Monangai, Chicago Bears running back. The last 4 weeks, Detroit defense has given up over 30 points per game, PPR points per game to the running back position. In those 4 weeks, just under 500 rushing yards, as well as 7 rushing touchdowns. I don't want to say it's like a meaningless game for Chicago, but I feel like DeAndre Swift is going to be put on the shelf for this one, at least in the second half. I could see Monangai eating up most of the carries here, and I do think that he ends up in the end zone and scoring a touchdown. So I think he has the potential to be a top 24 running back this week against the Detroit Lions.
Okay, Greg, you're breaking, so I'll go right to Chris. You're our
Oh,
Joe.
no, I've muted myself. Let's go over to Chris for our Joe. All right.
Okay. Well, Joe, to be honest, you probably presaged my bust pick, but we're on sleepers. So I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson shouldn't be eligible for a sleeper list, but he's been injured a lot this year. He's not in the top 12, and he got sat out last week, and I'm hoping that helped him to heal his injuries. He's in a must-win game, and he's in a must-prove game. And so I really think that Lamar's going to have a great week. And to be honest, the only risk here is that King Henry runs away with the game again, like last week.
And I love King Henry. How do you got it going, Rick?
Well, I'm going to go with someone who's all of a sudden just taken off, and that's Luther Burden, the Chicago Bears wide receiver, going up against Detroit. He had a breakout game against the 49ers with 8 catches for 138 yards and a tutty. And now he's getting to go against the Detroit Lions, who is the second worst defense against wide receivers, giving up about 24 points per game to the position. Burden's production has increased steadily the latter part of the season. He's had 67 yards, 84 yards, and now 138 yards. He is so quick coming off the cut that he is so tough to defend. And I'll say even the folks in Vegas think this is going to be a high-scoring event with a 50.5 over and under. So Luther Burden's my sleeper.
I like that call, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, I'm going with QB 16, Jackson Dart versus Dallas. I think they're one of the worst defenses in the league. And since Dart was named starter, he's started 11 games. All right. He's finished as a QB1 7 of those times. And he was actually close in 2 other games. So I think FF Today's full season Cowboys versus quarterback line shows 431.2 total quarterback fantasy points over 16 games, which works out to 26.9 points per game, which will put Dart into the top 12 again. So, and that's just standard fantasy scoring. So the only real question now is how much of the game will he actually play in week 18, which is always a question in week 18. So now we've gone over to our bust picks, and we start again with our pro. What do you got, Joe?
I didn't see who you guys picked ahead of time, so I hope I'm not sniping anybody here. But because I'm going with kind of low hanging fruit, and I'm going to say Matt Stafford is nice stud to sit this week simply because the Rams don't need to risk him getting hurt. They're in the playoffs. They can't move up. They can't move down. It's kind of a meaningless game. Arizona defense is worse against the run as well. I could see him maybe play in the first, just the first half. I don't see him play. He could even come out sooner than that. I don't see them risking much with Stafford. So definitely not relying on Matt Stafford as the QB1 that he's been all year. Greg, you're muted, Greg.
Chris, why don't you give us yours best for the week?
Okay. And to be honest, there were so many potential options here.
There were
players whose teams have already announced that they're going to sit players, a lot of injured players. And like I mentioned, Joe actually kind of presaged my bust, which is DeAndre Swift, the starting running back for the Bears. Kind of similar to the Rams. They don't have an awful lot to play for, but they're one team that's at least announced they're going to play their guys. But I think that Swift will start, but I think Mononga is going to get so much volume. And, it's hard for me to pick him here because he's done an awful lot of good for me on multiple teams this year. But I think they're going to sit him and rest him and save him for the playoffs.
Okay, I'll give my bust for the weekend. Originally, I was going to
so it's Rick's turn.
Okay. Originally, I was going to give Chris Olave, the New Orleans Saints wide receiver. He's had an awesome year so far, but I was viewing it as a tough game. He was going to go against Atlanta. Just today, though, the team announced that he will be out week 18 with blood clots in his lungs. And of course, the good news is he's already going home. They caught it early, but our prayers for a full and speedy recovery to the Saints wide receiver. So instead, I went with Michael Pittman, Indianapolis Colts wide receiver. And quoting someone on the Snap, Crackle, and Pop show, I'm going for the low-hanging fruit. Pittman and the Colts are going against the toughest defense, the Houston Texans. And with a third-string quarterback in his first start, my gosh, but just looking at Pittman's last 3 starts, he was 2 for 16, 4 for 32, and 1 for 26. His last game against the Texans, he was 1 for 13. And, of course, no touchdowns. I'm not even sure that Pittman is the wide receiver 1 for the Colts anymore. That's probably Alec Pierce. Over the last 7 games, he's totaled 26 catches for 212 yards and only 1 touchdown. That's barely 30 yards per game on nearly 40 targets. The Colts may be even looking to move Pittman and his $24 million cap hit. So I would definitely, stay away from Michael Pittman. Greg?
Okay. Well, I was going to ask Joe a follow-on question because of his pick. Do you see Blake Corum getting 15 plus carries this week, Joe?
It's Blake Corum, the running back for the Rams. Didn't he pick up? I thought he picked up an ankle injury. I wasn't sure if he was gonna. I'm not sure if he'll get 15 carries. I got to see the status of that injury before I can make like a good answer there.
Okay, Greg, you're.
Did we lose Greg? I think we lost Greg.
We lost him.
Okay, and also let's trash on all the Michigan players, the University of Michigan players, and the Detroit Lions. This is a good chance to do that. We're waiting for Greg to come back. And with that, I actually think Greg was going to say Emeka Egbuka going up against the Carolina Panthers. He calls Egbuka the gift that keeps on giving. Hasn't had a top 24 wide receiver run day since week 10. And in week 10 was the only week after week 6 that he's been the top 24. With Tampa fighting for the NFC South, they can't afford to rest their primary players. So Greg expects Egbuka to be on the field. Just don't expect too much at this time.
No, I think Egbuka's a gift that keeps on giving, to be honest, and I apologize. I'm supposed to have fiber optic internet in my new home that I bought in February, but it went out some time ago, and I've been using Starlink since then. So if you want to complain about Musk and X, you ought to complain about him in Starlink too, because it's just not stable at this point. So anyway, yeah, I went with Egbuka. He hit for me last week. Do it 2 weeks in a row. He's currently the wide receiver 20 in our scoring system. So I was going to leave anyway during the news segment, but that's it for now. I want to thank both Joe and Chris for coming on. If you all stick around, that's fine. You can do that. We're going to put you back in the green room while we go through the news.
Hi, everyone. It's week 18. I expect to see a lot of games with teams out of the contention. So they're going to be either looking at their younger players for next year or to better position for draft picks. And the teams that are in contention and already have clinched will probably set starters to protect them for the playoff games. So, like, for example, the Philadelphia Eagles are expected to start Tanner McKee instead of Jalen Hurts. And I would look for that sort of thing to happen a lot. That's all just telling you that it's going to be tough if you're playing games that count here in week 18. And you should be telling
tell them how you feel about week 18
So anyway,
tell them how you feel about week 18 championships.
Yeah, those bad leagues that should be left. Anyway, I did already give a hint that the Indianapolis Colts have announced that Riley Leonard's going to be quarterback against the Texans. He's replacing Phillip Rivers. Of course, with the Colts now being out of contention, they've seen plenty of what Phillip Rivers would be able to do for him. So it's time to see what the rookie will be able to do.
One quick note on that. I talked to Scott Gearhart today, and he told me something I did not know. Phillip Rivers apparently has extended his health care from the NFL 5 years by coming back and playing, and he's got 10 kids. So that's a huge financial benefit to him.
Yeah. So other news we've got from an injury point of view, Justin Herbert, he's already declared out for week 18 against Denver. Geno Smith, he left the game late in the game last week. Kenny Pickett will be starting week 18. Josh Allen, he was experiencing soreness. This is the second straight week that he's had some level of soreness. In the previous game, he had X-rays during halftime. They turned out negative, so he continued to play through the game, and he played all of last week. He's expected to play this week, but still watch injury reports. Jordan Love, he suffered a concussion. He cleared concussion protocol, but he's already declared out for Week 18 against Minnesota. Malik Willis had such an awesome game. Helped me win a couple of leagues, and I expect that this is going to be a great audition for him for next year. Rico Dowdell, he's questionable still, had a toe injury. He's missed some practices. Isaiah Davis, he suffered a concussion, so he's out. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he suffered a knee injury. He did not practice, was limited today, and I think the belief is if he's able, they'll want him to play. Marvin Harrison Jr., he's out with a heel injury. He's had a ton of injury problems. So if you have Michael Wilson, you've got another wide receiver 1 level performance to expect. Jalen Waddle, Miami Dolphins wide receiver, had a rib injury. Again, if you're starting Dolphin wide receivers, you're in trouble. But one tight end popped up and had a 5 for 58 and a touchdown game last week. And he's probably going to be a good target for anyone playing next year, especially dynasty leagues. Rashid Shaheed, he had a concussion. He practiced today, but still needs to clear protocol. Cody White, he had a groin injury, so the Seahawks wide receiver room has been really cut into, and Jake Bobo would probably be the next man up. Van Jefferson, the Tennessee Titans wide receiver, had a forearm injury. He's out for the rest of the season. Ex-Baltimore wide receiver James Prochet is the replacement as wide receiver 3. George Kittle, he missed game 17. It was called a game time decision. Of course, that hurt because if you were waiting until Monday Night Football to see if he was going to play, his replacement, Jake Tongas, had an awesome game with 7 for 9. 7 catches out of 9 targets for 60 yards and a touchdown. But it looks like Kittle says he absolutely expects to play. And Harold Fannin, he has a groin injury, didn't practice today, but hasn't been ruled out for this week. Darnell Washington suffered a broken arm. He's out. He's more of the blocking tight end for Pittsburgh. So they still have Freiermuth, Johnny Smith, and Connor Hayward. And that really goes through the injury report. And I see Tipp Major has joined us in the green room. Greg, any questions, or do you want to bring Tipp in?
I think we should start our AI segment. What do you think, Iggy?
Awesome.
Happy New Year's, fellas.
Hey,
What, no lead in, Iggy?
Hey, Tipp.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, we're going in without a lead in.
No, we went. I got one. I don't know if you have.
Deja vu.
There's our lead in.
What's going on, fellas?
Hey, Tipp, do you have a good Christmas?
Oh,
yeah,
no,
everything was good, man. Now everything is good. I'm ready to talk AI. I mean, it's week 18. I mean, we are obviously.
I want you to explain how you allowed me to beat you in the Elgin Fantasy League. That's for you, Tipp.
because I was too busy trying to win other leagues.
Yeah, I was going to say, did they have
you beat my brother, right?
Elgin has a league.
Yeah, no, I know, man. I struggled in that league a little bit. I mean, I made it to the playoffs, but I think you were crowned the champion. Is that correct, Greg?
Look at the ring. Look at the ring. I'll be wearing that to the expo next year too, by the way.
Oh boy, here we go. We got to see that again. All right. Well, no, look, guys, I'm here to talk AI. It's week 18.
Inexcusable.
It's week 18, and you can tell we are fantasy football junkies. We want it. We need it. We live off of it, and we don't want it to go away. But look, we're here for week 18, and I'm going to talk to you about this whole season. This whole season has been special. This year, we actually tracked it. And this year, I'm proud to say that I am leading the AIs. And I'm also leading the hosts. But, the hosts, Rick and Greg, are right behind me at 40 and 38 points, respectively. I'm sitting at 36. Krog, we're not going to talk about. We actually stopped counting with him. He's at 48 points. And right, definitely horseshit. And then Sir Whittington is sitting at 38. So me and Sir Whittington are right there neck and neck. Last week, we talked about Tyler Algier, Matt Collins, and Colson Loveland. It was interesting about Tyler Algier. I didn't think that game was going to be as close as it was. And if we been looking at some of his odd and even number weeks as far as rushing attempts, it was an odd number week last week. He had not been doing well in odd number weeks as far as getting touches, but he got 10 touches yesterday, but he did nothing with it because it was a Bijan week. Bijan was a freak last week. And so we got to see him win people championships. He won me a championship. And so, look, we're going to go to week 18, guys. Week 18, we got 3 players. And these 3 players, I love that we picked these 3 players because all 3 of these players are relevant this week. And what do I mean by relevant, right? Because week 18, we know that it possesses problems as far as your lineup situations go. Because you got some players who've already clinched the playoff berth. Their seed is where their placement is where their placement is. They don't have to play anybody this week, so they're going to sit some of their starters. Well, these 3 players, Amarion Hampton, Christian Watson, and Mark Andrews, are all playing for something this week. They're all playing for different seating positions. Hell, Mark Andrews is playing to even make it to the playoffs against that Sunday night game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. But we're going to go through what the AIs have said. Well, really just what Sir Whittington said, because again, we went ahead and we disqualified Krog. But what Sir Whittington said was he went with Amarion Hampton first. He said strong workload, PPR value. You know that there's the situation with Kamani Vidal. He missed last week. He did practice. Amarion Hampton missed practice last week too, or yesterday, excuse me. I haven't seen the report for him today, but that could be a situation that they know that they're going to be running the ball. They may want to rest him a little bit, get him ready for that big workload that he's going to get this weekend. And then, look, they said that he has a favorable matchup. I don't think that Denver Broncos is that favorable of a matchup from running backs, but I'll get to that in just a moment. And then he went with Christian Watson, number 2. Christian Watson has a high ceiling when he's active, and that's true. Christian Watson has been the go-to wide receiver in these last few weeks when he's on the field. And either Jordan Love or Malik Willis has been able to find Christian Watson. And there are some injury concerns. You always have to deal with that. But look, this week, they got to win this game. They're going against Minnesota. We'll talk a little bit about the Minnesota defense here in just a moment. But then number 3 was Mark Andrews. And look, proven red zone target. It seems like Lamar Jackson will be back for this game from all that we've been hearing. And he needs to be back for this game because, again, they need to win this game in order to make it to the playoffs, in order to win that division. But the snaps there is an uncertainty. That's why they have Mark Andrews ranked lower out of the 3. Again, look, we went with Krog, but Krog has been disqualified. Krog is getting new parts ordered. So hopefully next year he'll be recalibrated. All the parts will be, and he can actually contribute to this. But I'll tell you right now, for me, I saw it a little bit differently than what Sir Whittington saw. I went with Amarion Hampton, number 1, because, yes, it is a tough matchup. Denver's given up the second fewest points to running backs, or yards, rushing yards to running backs, right, or to rushing yards in general in total right now. So they're giving the second fewest. And then, but I will say this as far as the Chargers go, 32 times they've been rushing the ball the last 3 games. We know with the left hand, the left finger injury that Justin Herbert's going, it seems like he's getting healthier. He's getting back to it, but he did injure it possibly last week playing against that tough Texans defense. Rick, I know you could be proud of that. But I will say this, Amarian Hampton is a guy who I feel like can touch the ball the most. They're going to need him this week. They're going to need him to help protect Justin Herbert and help fuel this offense as well. We saw last week, 20 points in a PPR league. He got it, and he can do it again this week. It's going to be a little tougher going against that Denver Broncos, but he's still my number one pick. Mark Andrews is interesting because I kind of flaked between him and Christian Watson. And the only reason I went with Mark Andrews is because, look, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not with the same Pittsburgh Steelers that we've seen in the past. The Baltimore Ravens are not the same team that we've seen in the past. 15 years ago, if we would have saw this matchup, guys, this matchup would have been one of those bruise them up, beat them up, knock them down, blood, just blood, sweat, and tears type of matchup. This now, it might be a little cupcake and unicorns matchup, the way that these teams have been playing. And Denver, and I'm going to tell you right now, the Steelers they've given up the third most points to the tight end this season, and they've given up 11 touchdowns to the tight end. Last week, we saw Harold Fannin, before he got injured, he scored on a touchdown. That was a blown coverage play. And I think that Mark Andrews will be utilized in the red zone. Isaiah Likely utilized in the red zone. I think Mark Andrews does connect with Lamar Jackson because this is a crucial game, and Lamar Jackson is going to have to lean on his most trusted players. So Christian Watson rounds it out the third. And look, Christian Watson has been phenomenal the last month of the season when he's playing. He's been great. But this matchup against the Minnesota Vikings is really, really, really tough. In the last 3 games, they've allowed 1 TD to zone coverage, and then they've allowed 0 TDs when they're going against man coverage, the Minnesota Vikings. So they are a tough defense, guys. And Denver Broncos, they try to utilize the ball both against man and zone. So they try to exploit both of those and do a really good job at that. But I'm going to tell you right now, Minnesota's out there to spoil this Packers fun this week. And Minnesota has been really, really tough against Watson. And Watson has struggled, only averaging 2 catches against his team, 25 yards and 0 touchdowns in all the games that he's played against them. So he's had a tough break of it. I don't think that he's going to get anything done this week. And that's how I have him falling number 3 this week for me.
Well, what does Rick have?
Well, it's funny because, Tipp started off saying that, this is a great week for the AI segment because all 3 players have something to play for. When I first looked at this, I thought, ugh. Now, first of all, I was thinking, you've got a wide receiver going up against a defense with the thought of the possibility, and I may have mentioned Malik Willis had a great game last week, but there's a good chance that Clayton Tune is going to be the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. And I'm just like looking at that and saying, oh my gosh. And then, Hampton, of course, the Texans shut him down because after all, that's what the Texans do. The fact that he's going up against a defense that may be even tougher against running backs. The other possibility, and it's an outside possibility, but the Chargers may even rest Amarian Hampton. So because they're resting Justin Herbert already, and then we get to Mark Andrews, and I go, oh my gosh! So the good news for Mark Andrews is that Lamar Jackson's going to start, not Huntley. Last week with Huntley, Andrews was 4 for 28. And even with Lamar Jackson, he hasn't been that consistent as he had in the past. So I looked at all 3 of these and I was going to say, can I get 3 new cards? But had to pick somebody. And so I'm going to go crazy. And I think I turned Tipp upside down on this one. I'm actually going to go with Christian Watson. It was great last week. Of course, he was going against the Baltimore defense, and now he goes against a really tough Minnesota, passing defense. At least it's tough against the pass. But I still would like to see Christian Watson be the wide receiver 1 there, and I expect a touchdown. So then I go Marion Hampton. Again, just because I tend to always prefer running backs in a flex position. And I'm putting Mark Andrews because I kind of agree that Lamar Jackson is going to be looking at tight end, but I think of the two, Isaiah Likely is more apt to be the touchdown of those tight ends. So I could be completely wrong. Like I said, I looked at this list and I didn't even want to look at it, but
well, I put the list together, so I love the list. All right, and I went. Ravens Steelers have the game that matters the most. It really does. It's win or go home. So that's motivation, and motivation matters in week 18. So for me, I'm putting Mark Andrews number one. I just think that he's going to play the entire game, and I think he's going to get 6 to 7 targets and probably 5 or 6 catches and likely a touchdown. So I got Andrews at number one. Now, typically I would go for running backs over the other two positions, but in week 18, there's a risk of partial or no play on the other two players. Well, since quarterback is locked into their playoff position, since Green Bay is locked into their playoff position, I deem the risk of lost snaps is higher for Watson than it is for Henry. So I'm going with Hampton. Not Henry, Hampton. So I'm going with Hampton over Watson. So I went tight end, running back, wide receiver. So we're all different this week, which should make it for interesting play for our last segment of the year. And Tip, you said you're going to hang on for the next segment, right?
Yeah, I'll hang out for mailbag
All
with
right.
you guys.
Well, we've got
Let's
some
do it.
good questions. All right. Okay, we got some good questions, and it looks like we got a full house for the mailbag here. So, is there anything in the chat, Rick?
Yeah, there was a question from Sniper Mel, and thanks to Sniper Mel for always being there supporting the TSA team and this show in particular. So I want to make sure we get a chance to bounce her question around, and it's more of a thoughts on the Pack adding Diggs, the cornerback that was released by the Dallas Cowboys. I don't. Probably more important for folks that are playing IDP. But did anyone want to kick off any thoughts on whether it's going to help the Pack in these remaining, going into the playoffs, or if this is just a move?
Personally, for me, it's just a move. I mean, I think when they lost Michael Parsons, that was really, really the blow there. I mean, that right there, you can't replace a player like that. Even if you think Travion Diggs is still good, he still can contribute to a team, which I think he can. I just don't. I don't see that there's any possibility without them having Michael Parsons there. He was adding so much pressure. He wasn't getting a ton of sacks, but the pressure that he was adding, the force that he was wreaking on these offenses was going to help allow somebody like a Travion Diggs or like their other corners to make plays. And so, I mean, it's just a move for me. It might help a little bit, but I don't think it's going to help them in the grand scheme of things at all.
I think it helps them quite a bit, but I think Tip's absolutely right. Pressure is the killer. And if you can't get pressure, I don't care how good your corners are, NFL receivers are going to get open eventually. So you've got to be able to pressure the quarterback. I think the Diggs was a good signing, but I don't think it helps them that much this year with Parsons out. No. What about you, Chris?
I think it was a great pickup. How much it helps them right now, it's a hard thing. I mean, you have to build chemistry in a backfield, and they're starting from literally zero. And I think it's going to be hard to help. Yeah, but it's not as easy as starting picking up a random quarterback for the Colts or something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, and Diggs, my understanding was that he missed the practice, and so the team wanting to set an example. I look at what the Packers already have. Kayshawn Nixon is a really good cornerback. They've got Carrington Valentine as the cornerback too, and Javon Bullard's the nickelback. So, Diggs will have to rotate in. Obviously, he has to, learn their schemes. Not quite as challenging as for a veteran cornerback like Diggs. But yeah, I just don't see it as making a big difference. Yeah, losing, just an all defense player like Micah Parsons obviously is, the true blow that they're going to have to try to adjust for. But it's just picking up a player to me. So that was the one question I saw in the chat, unless there's any others.
All right. Well, from a mailbag, we've got John Holiday. Do I start A.J. Barner versus the Niners or Hunter Henry versus the Dolphins in Week 18? He's scared the Patriots will sit players. Yes, they will. Absolutely, they will. Let's start with our guest, Chris. What do you got?
I'm not sure they will. The Patriots and Broncos both play the late afternoon slot. And so the Patriots won't have any idea whether they can or cannot hit the 1 seed. I think they'll play them, but I still think the right play here is A.J. Barner.
Yeah, I agree too.
I agree with the Barner pick because I think he's getting more meaningful snaps. But Rick?
Yeah, I would start Barner over Henry, regardless of whether the Patriots play him or not. So I Barner at this point has more impact.
See, and normally I would go Henry without a thought just because he's a top 12 tight end for the year. But AJ is a Michigan guy. Now, I know he was only there 1 year, but he was there 1 year. Tim, do you sit the Michigan guy or are you with us?
No, I'm with you guys. I mean, the 49ers last week, I targeted him as well, going to get Colston Loveland. And he did well. So I'm going against him again. It's always those divisional matchups can be tricky. But I think A.J. Barner's been playing well. He really hasn't been getting the targets that you want. But like you said, Greg, they're meaningful targets. They're targets near the red zone. They're targets when they need him the most. And he's getting yardage. So I think A.J. Barner's the play here. I agree. They will be resting some players. Maybe not right away. Maybe not in the first quarter. But sometime, maybe when they get a lead, maybe in the second half of the game, they're going to start sitting some players, resting them, and that could really hurt you with Hunter Henry.
Okay, well, from Cooper Mango 3376.
Damn.
There were 3,375 other Cooper Mangoes. So.
Wow. There must be. For Week 18, should I
let me find out that's Andrew Cooper.
Rico Dowdle or RJ Henry? Again, we'll start with our guest, Chris. Who do you got, Dowdle or Henry, and why?
Oh, I'm wearing my Bo Nix Broncos jersey. I'm saying RJ Harvey today, and I again they want to win this game to get through to the 1 seed, and I think the game flow is going to be an awful lot on the ground, and so I think they're playing him. He's been very much touchdown dependent, but he's been really regular at doing it. So I think it's RJ Harvey.
Rick?
In fact, I thought Harvey by a big distance. The only thing that really looks interesting about Rico Dowdle is he's got a big incentive in case for him getting 7 more yards. I think it's like $1 million, isn't it?
It's huge.
That's a big incentive that you would expect the Panthers to try to get him a few extra carries. But RJ Harvey's definitely a better running back at this point in the season, and so
Rico could get that bonus on his first carry. They don't need to give him extra carries for that. Tip, are you going with Dowdle or Harvey?
Yeah, I'm going Harvey on this one, guys. I mean, I always talk about how Sean Payton can be really annoying with his running back usage, but he is utilizing RJ Harvey the way that a fantasy manager wants, and it's efficient. is not very much, not much, but he's getting passes. He's getting pass catches, and he's getting utilized around that end zone. And that's the big key with RJ Harvey. I think you can trust that going into week 18. It's kind of hard to trust Dowdle right now. It is a big game, though. There's several big games this week. And this game going against Tampa Bay, this is for the division. It's one of those games. So, they could be asked to utilize Dowdle. They could be asked to utilize Hubbard as well. It's one of those situations I want to avoid, because I think that RJ Harvey will get you what you need.
Well, I'm going to equivocate a little bit. In full PPR, I agree with everybody else. Start RJ Harvey, primarily because he's the higher ranked back and he is used in the passing game. So he's got a solid base to work from in the passing game. Pivot to Dowdle only if late news limits Harvey's role or health. If you think Harvey might not play the full game, then you might want to go with Dowdle. But other than that, to me, it's Harvey too. But again, if you hear something, always be open to changing. You've got to be open.
Isn't it cool that we're talking about Carolina Panthers in
week 18?
That's good.
Is awesome.
Irrelevant. Irrelevant.
Yeah. And again, I know that Tampa Bay fans are not happy about the way this season went, but it does make for a much more interesting, final weekend of the playoffs.
It does, because it's not locked up. So from Jordan Pop, who will score more fantasy points this week? Drake May, Matthew Stafford, or Joe Burrow? Let's go with you, Chris. We're going to go counterclockwise, so you know when.
Okay. Well, I think it's going to be May. I think they still have something to play for. We'll try it out.
I like how you did the NSYNC reference there. It's gonna be May. I like that. That was nice.
Rick?
I'd go Drake May as well. He's Burrow's going against the fourth toughest defense in Cleveland. Cincinnati's a 7.5 point favorite in the game, though, and they're expecting it. I'm surprised it's a 44.5 point over under, but I think that's all with the expectation that Cincinnati has a big game. You look at the Stafford game. They're a 7.5 point favorite in a game with a 46.5 point over and under. But the quarterback that's going against the toughest of the three defenses, at least against quarterbacks, is Drake May. But I still just expect him to do more. He's able to deliver both in the air and, more importantly, on the ground. So I would always lean towards Drake May. In fact, he might be the QB1 this week, if I'm not mistaken.
Tipp?
Yeah, for me, guys, it's Matthew Stafford. You guys brought up the good point about the Cleveland game, or Burrow going against Cleveland. Drake May, I talked about it a few minutes ago. There might be a situation where he's just done at, second quarter, halftime, third quarter, and I just don't want to risk that. So I'm going Matthew Stafford. They're going against the Cardinals. The Cardinals are middle of the pack as far as going against quarterbacks, but their defense really is not that good. And I think Matthew Stafford can exploit that. They were embarrassed last Monday night. They had to make that comeback towards the end of the game. I think that they get themselves together. He's also, Matthew Stafford has also found another target in Terrence Ferguson. And I'm telling you guys, dynasty people especially, make sure you have this guy on your team. Do whatever you can to get him on your team, especially if Kobe Parkinson is no longer a Ram. Because this kid here, man, is becoming a reliable target, and Sean McVay wanted him. So I really like him.
In Oregon too. So.
Yeah,
tight end, guys.
I like that kid.
Tight end. You got to mention he's a tight end. I know you mentioned Parkinson, so that should tip it off. But when I went out to block my opponent in the championship game, I went out and I got Parkinson and I got 2-3 other wide receivers. I didn't even think of Ferguson. If he'd have got Ferguson, I don't think it would have been different, but it would have been closer. I can tell you that. Ferguson did have a good game last week. So Drake May does project to score the most points. this week with Burrow second and Matthew Stafford third. But because I suspect May will sit part of the game, if not all of it, I'm going to go with Burrow here. I think Cincinnati really wants to work on the timing because Burrow missed so much this year. And I realize the game doesn't matter that much, but they want to show what they've got for next year too and decide they're going to have to make financial decisions. So I'm going with Burrow for this week.
Yeah, I'll add one more point.
CJ Henson.
You're not concerned. You're not concerned
go ahead,
about
yeah.
him. You're not concerned about him in his, history with Cleveland, his struggles sometimes.
Yeah.
Nope.
And
Cleveland's defense this year, the first half of the year, they were amazing. The last half, they've been pretty pedestrian.
Yeah, I'll add on to Tipp's suggestion on Stafford too, is that Arizona's minus their best cornerback and Garrett Williams. And so, that does make the air, I know like a lot of times they rate or rank defenses based on season long, but, they're in a tough spot this week without Williams and so I think that you're going to see, Puka have a big game.
I just think they're going to run the ball 35, 40 times in this game. I think you're going to see a lot of Corum and a little bit of Williams and not a whole lot of Stafford. But that's just me. From CJ Henson, name one player you're saying never again to, and one player you'll gladly draft again no matter what next year, redraft or dynasty. Let's go, Chris.
You're putting me on the spot.
That's tough, isn't it?
Oh my goodness.
Well, okay, we'll go the opposite way. Tipp, you go first.
I don't know.
Okay, so one player
Tipp,
so one player that I will never
again. You're never drafting him again.
Oh wow! I mean, I don't look at it like that because I will switch it up, but I will tell you one player that I will definitely, if I'm looking at him next year and I'm drafting Brian Thomas Jr. I don't know if I can trust it, man. I wanted to be bullish on him this year and be bullish that Trevor Lawrence was going to get better and that this offense was going to be better, but I thought when Travis Hunter was gone, that was going to open up things for him. But then when they got Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington, it's turning into a situation where Brian Thomas Jr. could have good games, but he's going to get lost in this mix. And if their defense starts to pick it up and gets better as the years go, they're not going to need to utilize him as much. So I'm really nervous about Brian Thomas Jr., and I will think twice about drafting him again. Now, as far as a player that I'll gladly draft, it's Drake May. I don't have Drake. I think I had Drake May on one team, guys, and it was a best ball league. I was a guy that was like, I'm not gonna do it. I've done it before. I'm not gonna touch this guy. I don't trust it. I was that guy in the offseason with Drake May. I wanted to get the guys that I knew were gonna get points. People like Joe Burrow, people like Josh Allen. People that kind of disappointed, people who were hurt as well. But this Drake May kid, one thing that I've noticed about him every time I watch him play is that he throws such a catchable ball. And if you look at his completion percentage, it makes sense now because when he throws the ball, it's just soft in these receivers' hands, and they can make a play after it. It's right on time. It's there. And I think that they're only going to see this as an organization and get him that number one wide receiver coming up in the next few drafts or number one option to make this offense even more explosive. So Drake May is a guy I'm all in on.
Okay.
Rick?
I'm going to have fun. And I'm not going to rage drop this player right after the season ends, but it's the same player, Kyle Pitts. I'm never going to draft him again, and I know that at some point during drafts, I'll be looking down there and say, "Gee, I need a tight end who's talented and a generational tight end." And I'll say, you know what? Compared to the other guys that are lasting out this far, I'll go ahead and draft him. So it's the same guy, Kyle Pitts.
Okay. How about you?
Okay, so I think I got my list. I think my don't want to trust him again is Kenneth Walker III.
That's a good one.
And I will tell you that he got me close to a championship last year, and this year I will tell you the barometer. I have him and Charbonnet on the same team, and whoever I played had the wrong game. It was absolutely the deal, and I'm never going to trust him again. And then the who I will trust forever is Jake Ferguson, the tight end for the Cowboys, because you can get him ridiculously easily, but he's so consistent.
Exactly.
So consistent.
And Chris, so the one.
Okay, well, for me, I never say never again.
Yeah,
I just
it's
don't
tough to
do
say
it.
that.
But there is one player that I won't be drafting next year that a lot of people will be, and that's Christian McCaffrey. And if you've heard Curse of 370, you know why. And if you stick around for Joe's show tonight, I'm going to explain why in great detail later on. So I really highly advise you tune into Joe's show tonight. But Christian McCaffrey will be off my draft list next year.
A quick comment on Kenneth Walker, though. If Kenneth Walker gets traded,
then it's a little different.
I can change my mind.
Well, it depends on who he goes to as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like you like to see these players. Like I would love to see.
Can't be a worse situation.
Well, it could be. You never know.
You don't want to go into the Rams. You don't
never
want to
know. You never know. Like Kyle Pitts,
I
would
now
love
the
to
player
see.
that I would definitely draft. The player I would definitely draft is Colston Loveland. You can get him so late, and his role's just going to grow. That kid can play ball. And him being a Michigan guy, yes, that makes it sweet for me, but it's not the reason. It's because I think this kid is going to be the next great tight end. The next one that Kraft, the Ferguson, the Kelsey.
No, Greg, I think you're. I mean, look, this Chicago Bears offense. I think next year this thing is going to just take off to a different. Because you got
right.
You got
so.
Like you said,
they got to get a running
Loveland.
back other than the young guy.
Well, I mean,
sucks.
Well, I don't. The way they utilize him, it works. You know, and I think that this offense is going to be really good, man. You know, it's going to be hard to stop a single player.
All right. Well, we got to get to the last question. We got to get to the next question. This is our last one from Best Junior. Who will be the number one pick next year in fantasy drafts? Chris, you're first.
Oh, it's got to be Love. I mean, for sure. I earned a first pick, and he's absolutely going to be my pick, unless someone wants to pay the right price.
Yeah. He's talking about rookie draft. No.
Oh, I'm talking rookie draft. Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's a rookie draft.
No, I'm talking about fantasy drafts.
Fantasy drafts. Then I'm probably picking Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
I like Bijan because I'm a running back first guy. Rick?
Yeah. In fact, I list out Bijan Robinson, JSN and Puka.
You guys are staying away from CMC.
JSN and Puka will be right up there with them, and maybe Jahmyr Gibbs or Devon A-Chain. But if it's a super flex, it's going to be Josh Allen, and maybe after that Drake May. And then again, the question doesn't say it, but if it's a dynasty,
no, it doesn't.
If it's Bijan Robinson.
Come on, you know it's Bijan. Just look at go to my Twitter page, go to my X page. You'll see it pinned on the Bijan is. I've been talking about him for 2 years now. That is the guy. If you have him in your dynasty, that's it, man. He's locked and loaded.
Just so you know, Bijan is one of 3 players that has an outside shot of getting 370 touches this year. He's not that far off. 370 touches. He gets 370. I'm not touching the guy.
He's different.
I'll gladly take him.
At that age, the same is different. He's different.
To me, I'm a running back guy. I am. But I think it's probably going to be Puka Nacua or Jamar Chase will be the number one pick. Now, I'm not going to take them there because I'm not going to get the number one pick. They're going to be gone before I pick. But I think of the two, I'd probably go with Chase, slightly over Nakua and JSN. And at running back, I agree with these guys. I like Bijan the most of the running backs. Although, if something were to happen to David Montgomery, Jameer would jump up to the top of my list. Because I think if he got a full workload, he's number one if he gets a full workload.
Yeah.
I also wanted to point out that, and Chris had a great, when he went into the college players, because we play a lot.
Who's the guy? Thing who loved this because I didn't know.
So the top quarterback, Francisco Mendoza, he's the Indiana quarterback. Jordan Tyson's probably the top wide receiver at Arizona State. Carnell Tate, though, with Ohio State is going to be up there as well. Jeremiah Love is Notre Dame, the top running back. And so those are probably – now, if defenses, if you're doing an IDP rookie draft, God, Sonny Styles looks so good. He might be the next big linebacker to come into the NFL. So
where did he play?
Sonny Styles, did he play for – God, that's a good question. Ohio State?
So this Love kid, what kind of running back is he, Chris?
Big bruiser.
He's good. He's big. He's fast. He's strong.
Is he a quick twitch guy that's got good side to side motion?
I got to tell you, I've been watching an awful lot of NFL and just reading about the projections.
Okay.
And
then you would recommend everybody go out and get some tape on this guy and look at it.
Yep, that's exactly it.
And
Does
Sonny
he
Styles did go to Ohio State.
have the same? Does he have the same type of that Genty had last year?
I've heard him compared very favorably to him.
Would you say?
Yeah, I think Genty was seen more generational.
Well, I like Genty. I think he's got a long career for him.
Genty's good too.
Folks, that's our show. Chris, Tipp, thanks for hanging on and helping us extend it to get the full hour in. And we'll definitely get you back on in the off season, Chris.
Okay, sounds great.
Because we got to have topics. We just have to have topics. And I do appreciate you coming on last minute. That was very kind of you.
You bet.
Tipp, tell people where they can find your work other than the sports affiliation real quick before we let you go.
No, thanks. I just finished doing a set with Rotoballer Radio or NFL, and we were doing spaces every week answering fantasy football questions. We're not going to do it this week, but check out. I'm going to be doing some more things with them. Also doing roundtable discussions with football guys. I posted that earlier today. We did a really cool roundtable discussion on some rookies that we were talking about that we're really, really excited about going into next season. So check that one out, please. Just go to my post. I'll actually pin it after the show. But I'm also doing other things with the sports affiliation. I'm going to continue to stay here with you guys and work through the off season and do shows. And hopefully we'll see some new people hang out with the sports affiliation as well. I'm excited about the off season.
All right. Now, I want to thank everybody for coming on. Hey, if you enjoy the show, go over to YouTube and subscribe to the Sports Affiliation channel so you can get all the great shows there. We do appreciate it. And tune in 15 minutes on YouTube on the Sports Affiliation channel. You'll see the Aces Up podcast that's going on tonight. Get over there because they've got some great guests tonight with Joe. They're talking about where to rank people for next year, and it's never too early to start preparing. Take us out, Iggy.